everyone. Today is the Geek Remix podcast. It's that time of day again. My name is Mari.
It's that time of day. Whatever time of day you're listening to this.
Whatever it's that time of the time. My name is Mari.
And I'm Stacy.
And I thought, since everybody's probably just already asking, what do you guys think of the Life is Strange 2 teaser trailer?
So, when I actually was gathering questions, for the last podcast, all everybody was asking was, can you guys talk about, Life is Strange 2 stuff? And now we have actual,
Stuff to talk
about. A teaser trailer. Mm-hmm. So, if you haven't already seen the teaser trailer, I recommend watching it. But basically, it's from the perspective of a cop dash cam.
Yep.
And so he's, rolling down the street, and then there's, I think they say something about, a fight in progress or something like that.
So, I did a breakdown, 2 separate videos of the breakdown, where, he goes, there's a 10-10 in progress, and by the way he's reacting, he's it seems like he's seeing a lot more than just, a street fight, because he's oh my god, 10-10 in progress, I need backup. Mm-hmm. So he's not just seeing, 2 drunk people fighting.
Yeah.
And then he runs over, and if you, listen super carefully and slow it down, it sounds like he's saying, Daniel, it's gonna be okay. Mm-hmm. And then, some shit happens, and then, some sort of force is thrown, and, the cop car is flipped over.
And the guy goes flying.
Yeah. And some people, skip ahead if you don't want to see spoilers, because there was a data mine that I haven't looked at yet, but people keep, sending it to me, and I don't look at it, but, the one thing I couldn't avoid, and, skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, was, the main character's name was going to be Daniel, and I was okay, I don't know if that's actually true or not. I really wish people would, not data mine, because that's, spoilers.
Well, because remember people data mined the original game, and then and then they were oh, these things are going to happen, and then they never did, because that wasn't actually included in the game.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, because they put they put a file named Rachel Amber in there.
Yeah.
And they were her file was in the game, I don't understand. In the original Life is Strange, because they're she's alive because her file's in the game. And then I was no, that was probably just the model for her body bag.
Yeah.
So, data mining is not always reliable, because I think they know now that you're going to do that.
That people are going to do it.
People are going to do it, so sometimes they put, mislabeled files in there. So...
Yeah.
And now AJ's upset that we aren't allowing him to be a part of the podcast, but he's being very bad today, so he has to go outside.
But
yeah, so it's confirmed, I guess, in its own way, that the main protagonist is going to be one of the neighbor kids, who I think
Wait, do we know that that's the kid?
Yeah, they said his name was Daniel.
Oh, I didn't know that we knew that from Captain Spirit.
It's from the data mine that people kept being his name is Daniel.
Yeah, but I don't know what is the connection between the neighbor kid and the name Daniel? How do we know his name is Daniel?
Because his file name was Daniel.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what everyone kept telling me. His name is Daniel. His file's name is Daniel. I'm okay, I don't want to look at the data mine. But, they would be the kid's name is Daniel, and then, send me a link, and I'm please stop. I'm really asking you. If you've watched any of my videos, it's so clear that I have asked so many times, don't do this.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to me that I be able to enjoy the game. It's more important to me to be able to enjoy the game than to,
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers. And I know that's going to make people be I'm definitely going to send it to her now. It's just, I don't care if somebody's, trying to ruin my day. I just care,
because people get excited and they're they just want your thoughts on something, and it's right, but if you actually, listen to, what I want, I don't want to know this stuff.
Yeah, that's what...
I just want to be able to play the game.
I want to play the game the way Don't Nod wants me to play the game. And not, cheat.
But not, drip-fed?
Yeah, I want to analyze what's given to me and not, look past that.
Well, and also, I feel it can also set up expectations Because, like, we don't know that he's going to be the main character. There might be an incident. Mm-hmm. Maybe he dies. You don't know.
Though this takes place before.
Oh, okay.
This takes place on October 28th.
Like, but he might just be there. Like, we don't know that he's the one that... Do you know what I'm saying?
So, some theories are that there's a newspaper on the table in Captain Spirit, and it says... a month ago, a strange incident happened where somebody died from a gunshot and a police officer died from unknown reasons, and there's riots about it. So some people think this is the same incident because Captain Spirit takes place in early December, late November.
Yep.
And this takes place on October 28th. So some people think it's the same incident. I looked up the address. It's actually in Portland. And the incident happened in Seattle, so it could have just been like a made up street. So, and like it doesn't look anything, the place in real life doesn't look anything like the street that it happens on. I thought that since it seemed like the kid didn't really have control over what was going on, because he said, I didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as another cop came by and said, get on the ground, my interpretation was the kid got upset. And then the powers happened. So I think he either...
Kind of like an X-Men.
He either doesn't have control over his powers, or the powers are controlled by, like, an outside entity, which is why Captain Spirit had the word spirit being said over and over again all the time. Like, if you answer the phone, like, this guy calls and he's like... The spirit is inside of you. Mm-hmm. The Holy Spirit. And it's called Captain Spirit. Mm-hmm. Maybe he has more control over his powers by the end of Captain Spirit because it seems like he saves Chris at the end. Whichever kid has it. And also, at the end, it says there's a 1080, which is a... chase in progress, but also somebody else said that 1080, depending on where you are, can also mean a possible explosion. So that could be interesting as well.
Interesting.
Is there anything... Because I looked it up, and the 1010 was fight in progress, but 1080, I looked it up, and it said, like, chase in progress, but also 1080... Other people said that I didn't find a source for, said it could be an explosion.
There's like this handy little like police code, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm interested in knowing if you guys know like how to interpret like these number symbols over the camera.
It says 1080 means pursuit in progress.
Yeah, so the pursuit in progress. But if anyone knows, like the officer involved was named Matthews, okay, and I want to know if anyone like knows anything about dash cams, like what this LM1ICM means and stuff, like if that means anything. But it seems like it's possible that we're going to be getting a male protagonist who is a person of color, and I've seen a lot of fans being like, well, if it's going to star a guy, I'm not going to even play it, blah, 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 blah. And I respect your choice, but I also think that having a... Like, in my mind, there's just no doubt in my mind that whatever character is going to be there is going to be bisexual at least. And so I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool to have, like, a male person of color who's queer as a lead in a popular game?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is all getting into, like, a lot of, like, assumptions that I'm not super comfortable with.
Well, we're just discussing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of discussing it right now is we're just going off assumptions because there's nothing else to talk about.
No. I guess I just don't want the queer assumption.
Right.
I just don't want to, like, get people's hopes up that it's going to be, like, a queer person of color and then it's not and then people are disappointed.
Yeah.
That's because true. There's, like, absolutely no basis for it. Mm-hmm.
Also, I hope that people don't, not just us, just other YouTubers too, don't, like, yell at YouTubers for, like, sometimes I feel like people don't think they have control over how the game is made, so they yell at people they feel they can reach. And I hope that people don't yell at YouTubers who are playing the game and they don't find anything queer, like, don't misplace the blame. If you have an issue, just, like, politely, like, say it to the developers instead of, like, yelling at people within the fandom.
Even if the main character is not queer at all, I feel like having a person of color is a pretty big deal, and it would be pretty shitty of people to look at that as somehow like a step back.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if the person is Native American. It seems that way. Like, that's my assumption.
Seems like a possibility.
Seems like a possibility. That's them listening to the fact that, like...
A lot of people brought that up.
A lot of people brought that up, and that was, like, cultural appropriation and a little bit of whitewashing that they took Native American ideas and influences and made it about... In the original game. And kind of made that about a bunch of white characters. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm not saying, like, I'm mad about it. I'm just, like, pointing out a flaw and being like, I love this game, and here's where, in my opinion, I think it could improve.
You know, it's funny, too, because it's, like, I find that there's plenty of things that I really enjoy, like, movies or, like, shows and stuff, where I'm like, yeah, there's, like, a lot of things in this that could be made better. I still really love it. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, I've definitely watched things before. I've enjoyed things before that other people have been like, how can you like that? Because it has all these problems. And, like, that's okay as, like, you just recognize the problems and you're like, could be better because one way of making media better is, like, if you're a fan of something and you recognize something is a problem, you go, like, hey, I'm a fan of this, but, like, I'll also recognize this is a problem, and the people who make it are going to be like, you know what, you're probably right. Like, when I make the next iteration of my project, I will keep that in mind. Yeah.
I'm going to improve. Like, at the end of the day, it is the developer's choice to do whatever it is that they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that they listened to a lot of fan feedback when it comes to the making of Life is Strange 2. And I think, you know, they're trying their best to, you know, in my opinion, balance their own creative vision while also giving people what they want.
Well, and you know what? I feel like another thing that people don't realize is that, like, sometimes, like, it's okay to realize, like, as a creative person, that your vision can be expanded. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if I were to write a book and I made, like, or, you know, if somebody, like, writes a book and they make all of, like, if they make all of the characters, like themselves, mm-hmm. for whatever reason, mm-hmm. like, that might be problematic, and people might look at that and say, like, hey, like, this could be better, and the person's like, oh, shit, I was just writing this from my experience, and I didn't even think about the fact that if I expand what I'm trying to talk about, I could make it even better.
Yeah,
you know
like, there was, like, a...
So it's not like you have to say to the person, like, hey, this sucks, and, like, your vision is, like, bad.
And you're a problematic person. It's like, sometimes people who are making things just genuinely didn't realize.
Yeah, it's really, really common, especially, like, with books and stuff, for authors to not really examine closely how they make secondary characters, for instance.
I remember when one of the DLCs for Dragon Age Inquisition came out, and, like, I was talking to some other fans being like, it seemed kind of imperialistic because we were just, going in and being like, whatever. Yeah. So I sent a tweet to Patrick Weeks, who's now the lead writer for the next Dragon Age. And I was like,
Which hasn't been announced yet.
Which hasn't been announced yet.
He's been very clear about that.
He's like, it hasn't been announced. Like, there's no confirmation. But anyway, so I was like, hey, like, it really seems like, you know, this storyline was super imperialistic. Like, we go in and do this. And he's like, oh, like, what I was trying to get across was, like, these people were bad because they attack you right away. And I was like, oh, well, you know, they attack us right away because we went on to their territory and they didn't know who we were. And he's like, oh, shit, like, I'll keep that in mind. Like, I didn't see it that way. Mm-hmm. Which, like, that's how it goes. Like, I don't have to, like, be like, I guess I have to boycott Dragon Age forever or something.
Yeah. Which sometimes it's just fair to be like, hey, like, I don't know if you realize this, but, like, you know, the way that you wrote this is, you know, is XYZ, and, like, maybe you could change this about it next time.
Also,
like,
I don't want to invalidate anyone's feelings because I know it's really hard to find representation in media. And so, like, if you're a not straight girl and you're like, I finally found, like, a series that I feel at home with, where I feel like I relate to these characters and what's going on. And, like, then now this, like, there's a boy who's going to be in the front of who's going to be the main protagonist. And now you're like, oh, I lost it. I lost this thing that's so important to me. I'm upset. Like, I don't want to invalidate that feeling.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I understand why people feel that way. And I just hope that, now that we're getting, like, stories like The Last of Us 2, where Ellie is going to be canonically a lesbian.
We're also going to have Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
And we're also going to have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I'm not saying that, like, that's going...
Isn't there another one, too?
Yeah, we're getting more games now with leads of girls who are not straight, and I think that and I think that's really great. And and somebody brought up a really good point, saying that statistically queer women are not as well represented in all of media as queer men are, because there's, like, more gay male couples, I guess, in TV and stuff.
Interesting. But specifically in games, I think.
Specifically in video games, the representation of non-fetishized queer girls is more often given than queer men.
Yeah.
Because right now I can think of Shr Ra from Dragon Age Inquisition. Most of the romances in BioWare games. Ellie from The Last of Us. And, like, a few other things. And right now the only gay male protagonist I can think of is Keon from whatever chapters. Mm-hmm. That's the only, like... Dreamfall chapters. Who's, like, a gay male protagonist.
And that doesn't even come out until later, and it isn't really developed in the way that I feel like, you know, it could be.
Yeah, but, like,
I'm not saying that it's like not good representation, but, like...
I'm not saying this is, like, the Oppression Olympics or anything. I'm just saying, like, queer women, and, like, it is for reasons, like, male gamers are a lot more accepting of lesbians than they are of
in their
gay
games.
Men. Yeah, they just are, and that's for fetishization reasons, and a lot of straight people, even if they aren't, like, anti-gay, it just makes them uncomfortable to even have the option of a gay thing happening. It's true. They'll be like, I don't have a problem with gay people, I just, like, don't want to, like, be confronted with that. And I think it's kind of unfair for women who are just expected to be, like, totally chill with, like, if, like, I feel like female gamers, they like, a lot of lesbian opportunities come up, and, like, if they're straight, they just go, oh, okay, whatever, cool.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and they're just kind of like, oh, all right.
Whatever, like, cool. Like, I feel like lady gamers, even if they're straight, they're just like, oh, a lesbian option. Okay, well, you know, not for me. Like, yeah. I can, my entire self-identity is not, like, intimidated by this homosexual encounter, you know? Mm-hmm. And then I feel like a lot of male gamers don't... Straight male gamers are not... And I'm not, like, trying to speak for all straight male gamers. I'm sure there's a lot of straight male gamers who can just be, like, chill about it.
I know that there's tons, because we definitely know a bunch. I guess we're just trying to say that, like, if you...
From my personal interactions with other straight male Life is Strange fans, a lot of the feedback is it wouldn't be the same if it was a gay guy. Like, mm-hmm. It wouldn't be as good with gay dudes and not lesbians. And I try to press them on it, and they're like, I have gay friends, I'm, like, down with gay marriage, I don't want to see it. And in my head, I'm like, my initial reaction is like, okay, that's homophobic, but I also don't know what it feels like to see something and be like, I don't, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm bisexual, so any combination of genders, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I agree. Like, I don't really understand.
I don't get it. I don't understand
I guess it's like, maybe, like, being put into the only like thing that that would be similar to that experience, like that I could possibly experience, would be like to be forced into a romance with a character I didn't like for any reason. Like, can you imagine if like the main protagonist, like their romance option that you had to choose was like a total asshole, and everybody else was like, "Oh my god, I love this character." And you're just sitting there being like, sweet, now I have to romance this person and I don't even like them. We've played games like that, remember?
Yeah.
Where we get shoehorned into a romance that we don't want.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's like...
the same.
I'm just saying
that's their closest...
I'm just saying that's my closest experience because the gender thing doesn't really apply to me.
Yeah, it just sucks that because... people are uncomfortable with the prospect of even being confronted with that other people completely get denied representation. Yeah.
Well, I do think, this is not just a hope, like, I think that this is true, that as there is more representation, people will gradually become, because...
if you're not used to seeing something... it's going to make you uncomfortable. But if you see it more and more, you're going to be like, oh, like, I confronted it. I saw the gay thing. I still feel comfortable with my sexuality.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like...
and I mean, like, and I understand also, like, people wanting options. Like, there are people, like, who played the original Life is Strange and, like, romanced, quote-unquote, Warren, because... they didn't like Chloe for, like, whatever reason. Like, whether it was because, like, it's gay or, not. But, like, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah. It still felt like a very queer story to me. And I guess I can't even really, like, point out a single reason why. It just feels like, okay, Warren's there. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, so...
but, like, having the option does make people feel less forced.
Yeah, and I guess also, like, because... so there's also a difference to me in something like The Last of Us, where you are watching a story, where you're not, like, making choices. Mm-hmm. There's a difference when you're put into a choice-based game, in my opinion. When you're in a choice-based game like Life is Strange, but you're still forced into a choice, that feels worse than playing something like The Last of Us, or, like, God of War, where it's like, nope, I'm in a story, and I'm just, like, watching how the story plays out. Yeah, and so then when things happen, they're happening to the character, not so much you. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It just kind of, like, sucks, because sometimes when I'm, like, reading discussions or being involved in a discussion, like, it's so easy for people to be like, I don't see how Life is Strange is a queer story. It's not, like, it's up for debate if they're gay, and I'm just like, for some reason, in me, I'm like, stop taking that away from me. Like, it feels like they're taking it from me, and that I'm glad that I, like, understand that feeling, because now, like, I can totally understand, like, I've been able to understand this, but, like, I can understand why people get so defensive over their queerships, because, like, there's so little, and, like, stop, you're like, I understand that that's your opinion and like whatever, but it makes me feel like you're washing it away, like you're making it not matter.
See, I feel completely differently because I love the story of Life is Strange just as much if Max and Chloe are just friends.
I didn't say that I liked it less. It just, like, it makes... I don't know how to explain the feeling where I'm just like, you're just denying that it happens. But I guess it comes from also the feeling I get when people are like, no, Ellie's bisexual. And you're like, but she's not. Like, no, she just didn't know what she was doing. It's like, no, she's gay. No, she's not. She's confused. And you're like, no, she's gay.
I feel like there's a difference between people that do that specifically because they wish to invalidate and people who are just playing the story with their own canon. Mm-hmm. Do you know what and doing it, like, genuinely, they're just like, no, like, genuinely, because some people did play it and were like, no, this is a story about friendship, and whether they didn't, even if they didn't romance anyone, you know?
No, I totally get that, and, like, I understand that. It's just, like, when people say that, I have to be like, okay, like, it was their choice, and it was, like, how they saw it, and I'm just being like, I understand why some people get really upset when that ship is invalidated, because there's so few woman ships, not only in video games, just in the world overall. And then a lot of the time the same thing happens where people will just be like, oh, no, it's just not.
I think we're talking about different things, though. Because you're talking about, like, people who are specifically trying to invalidate it, and I'm talking about, like, people who played it a different way and still view all options as valid.
I'm saying the reason why people in the fandom react that way is because of a history of that. And I'm not saying the people who not invalidate, but choose to play a different way are wrong. I'm explaining a phenomenon in different fandoms as to why people react so strongly when people don't support each other's ships. That's why. So I'm hoping, like, if I explain it like this, everyone can be like, oh, I understand now, and there can be less fighting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at, being like, hey, when somebody says, I don't think Max and Chloe are gay, it could be them invalidating it, or it could just be
that's just
not their canon.
Yeah.
And I understand that from the life experiences that everybody's had of, like, in other, like, fandoms and other, like, woman ships, like, there really are people who are like that, and that can make you think that some other people are invalidating that, but it's not necessarily true, and they can't control your feelings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I feel like that a lot of people get upset about ships.
Yeah, but I totally understand.
And I mean, like, sometimes it's because of, like, history, like what you're talking about, and other times it's just because people
are
like,
buttheads,
and they just, like, they're like, no, like, my way is, like, the only way. You know?
Yeah, I just am trying to make it so that if anybody's listening, maybe we can all just, like, try to find a high understanding, because when people get, like, really mad at me, and I have to be like, okay, I feel that I'm right, but I also have to realize that, like, maybe this person has experienced this type of life, or maybe this person has, like, experienced this in some other fandom, and that's why they're being so defensive over this topic.
Yeah, that they're bringing personal history to it.
That they're bringing her personal history to it, which is valid because, like, that's like
their life experience.
That's their life experience, and that's, like, actually happening, and it was a real problem for them in their lives. So instead of, like, escalating the situation, I go, like, hey, like, I get it. I just disagree. Instead of being like, no!
It's kind of like...
So I'm hoping people are, like, listening to this and, like, bringing that experience to themselves and being like, okay, like, maybe we don't have to be so angry at each other.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of how, like, if somebody from, like, whatever walk of life is used to getting, like, I don't even want you, like, harassed by people all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if they're constantly used to, like, people, like, giving them shit or, like, giving them problems, like, whatever, they might adopt, like, an aggressive persona or to, like, kind of, like, protect themselves and deal with it. And then when somebody who maybe says something that, like, they don't mean it to come off, like, sounding similar, but they're, like, just kind of clueless, and then the person who is hurt gets, like, really aggressive, and everyone's like, what the hell? Like, why'd you have to be aggressive? And it's like, well, it's because they're used to
having to defend themselves.
And, like, when people say that type of stuff, they're used to it leading down, like, a really shitty road.
So they're trying to stop it.
Yeah. Whereas, like, this time around, you know, maybe this person was just kind of clueless and didn't know what they were saying. But, like, you have to kind of, you know, especially when people are used to putting up with shit all the time, you know, from whatever community they're in, whether it's, like, they're a minority or it's a fandom or, like, their personal, like, experience with abuse, you know, it might help you to, like, try and think about, like, what personal experiences is this person dealing with that maybe is causing them to react this way.
Yeah.
So.
I think I wanted to, I wanted people to... I just want everyone to stop fighting in the fandom.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to stop fighting and get along, okay?
Oh my god. So, somebody commented on my Instagram the other day, and they were like, oh, like, I'm just worried that it's, like, that the Life is Strange 2 is going to be, like, Before the Storm, it's not going to be as good as the original. And I was like, honestly, I have faith in I don't have faith in the fandom.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Most of the fandom is really great, but some people just
like 1% of the fandom is like a butthead.
It's like, yeah, you know how it is. It's like, there's always that really loud bunch that get, like, super upset and take things really too far.
And
you know?
if anybody ever, like, makes you feel like shit from a fandom, I just want you to know that literally every fandom is trash.
Yeah.
And I love being a part of the fandom because the 99% of the fandom is amazing.
Yeah, and like 99% just want to like make fan art and like talk about theories and like, you know, and bond, I guess.
And then some people like, you know, they're doing it for whatever reason that they're doing it and just try and just like let it go, you know?
There's going to be a Life is Strange comic. They've talked about this before, but it's basically gonna cut. You can see the cool cover right here. Mm-hmm. You see?
They say
the reflection.
It's based off of the ending of the original Life is Strange season 1 ending,
where Chloe lives.
Where Chloe lives. Yeah. Okay. So why are they doing this to me in the comic cover? Why are they doing this to me personally? I am attacked, and I feel invalidated.
Yeah. And people keep asking us to talk about this, but I don't know what exactly to talk about yet. But just thought you should know, if you didn't know already, that for those who can't see the cover is Max and Chloe standing in the ruins of, I'm assuming,
Arcadia
Bay. And there's a puddle on the ground, and in the puddle there's a reflection of just Max with no Chloe.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. Stop it.
I like it.
It makes me feel like anxiety that like somehow in this ending where we killed everyone for Chloe, that somehow Quantum
she's gonna die anyway.
She's gonna die anyway, or like she doesn't really exist, or something like that. And I'm just like, no, just let me have this, okay? Don't put me through more angst. I don't want angst. I want fluff. Give me the fluff. Give me the fan service. I already went through enough.
It opens up after we killed everyone in Arcadia Bay.
And that's fine. And then fluff. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. Just happiness. I want the comic to have... Okay. If it's not like this, that's okay. But...
After we just talked about this
If it's not like this, that's okay. But what I personally want is just fluff. Mm-hmm. I just want fan service and fluff because I feel like we've gone through enough. Mm-hmm. And they know that a lot of their fan base are girls who want a happy ending.
This is not made by, like, Don't Nod or anything. This is made by 2 other people.
Emma V.
Go up. It says their names if you go up.
It says right here.
No, yeah, but that's, like, a Twitter handle. If you go
Claudia
up, it
Leonardi.
Says... go down. Right here. Emma Viacelli and Claudia Leonardi.
Okay. So...
Oh, one of them wrote the Doctor Who comic or something?
Cool. So, yeah.
Tried to pronounce those names. We'll see how I did when everyone in the comments yells at me. Okay, on to the next. Supergirl has added the first transgender superhero to the show. It's going to be played by transgender activist Nicole Maines. So
who's she playing as? Do we know?
A trans superhero called Dreamer.
What is her power?
No, hold on.
Which is similar to Kara, journey to become Supergirl.
Yeah, so she'll be in Nia Nall, aka Dreamer. And I don't know who that, like, I don't watch the show, and I don't really know anything about it. But I did think that it was kind of cool that they cast an actual transgender activist to play her.
I like the show. I've only watched season 1. It's a little, like, fan servicey, but I'm okay with that. Because they'll be like, the president called. She said, good job, Supergirl. Being like, the president's a woman. Mm-hmm. Like, you know.
In case you didn't catch that.
She, the president, female.
Yeah.
Or just, like, stuff like that. And I think her sister comes out as gay, and that's, like, important and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. So, and...
Is Dreamer a trans canonically a trans superhero?
You are asking the wrong person.
Let us know. Thanks.
Because I pretty much know nothing about, like, superhero comic stuff. It was never really, like... When I read comics, they're not usually, like, superhero stuff.
So, next story, if you're okay with that. Parents are hiring Fortnite video game tutors for their kids. There's pressure to be good at it. So, what's happening is, like... it was a Wall Street Journal article that my dad sent to me.
Oh my god.
But I couldn't remember my password, so we're reading the People version of it. But basically, they're paying as much as $50 an hour to help their kids improve at playing Fortnite, a wildly popular battle royale game in which 100 players are dropped 100 players are dropped into an island and must fight each other, blah, blah, blah. Can you let AJ in?
Yeah.
Yeah, the newspaper interviewed several parents who hired Fortnite coaches for their kids.
You're being really disruptive.
You're being, like, a really bad boy today, AJ. You're being, like... You're not getting a Fortnite tutor now. So, there's pressure not just to play, but to be really good at it. You can imagine that was what it was like for him at school. So, his parents got him a $50 an hour tutor so he could be cool at school.
Some of the parents said they hoped their children's Fortnite skills would lead to a lucrative career in esports, a college scholarship, or a piece of the $100 million prize money awarded to top players by Fortnite developer Epic Games.
So, when I was growing up, I played, like, really competitive softball, and I, like, went to, like, lessons and, like, had, like, trainers and stuff, and, like, that my parents would pay for because, like, it helped you get into college. So they're kind of applying the same logic of that to Fortnite, and I'm not entirely sure that is going where they think it's going. However, I know there are some schools that are having professional esports.
Well, they are trying to develop esports. I feel like I just read an article about this, how they're trying to get esports added to the Olympics or something.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe I'm, like, too old to get it or something. But, like, to me, I feel like it's not going to have the same pull as, like, an athletic team to me. But I could be wrong. Like, maybe I don't get it. Like, maybe...
Aren't there already some schools that have esports teams?
Yeah, I think there are. And, you know...
I mean, but think of it this way. Like, if your kid is not... And if your kid is not going to be an athlete, like, this is kind of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because, like, if your kid's not really, like, an outstanding student, and if they're not an athlete, like, some people may look at this, not necessarily, like, specifically Fortnite, but, like, esports in general, they may look at that as kind of like, oh, like...
Or maybe it's parents being like, hey, like, this is something he or she, or they feel passionate about, and I want to be supportive of something that they feel passionate about.
And I do feel like there's also something to be said for, you know, taking something that a kid is interested in, like, even if it, you know, like, is it video games? Is it chess? Is it, like, track and field? Is it, you know... math, like, whatever it is, and just kind of being like, what can we do with this, and how can we encourage them to be passionate about something? And also, like, I would think that
maybe it's, like, a really good sign for video games that people, like, parents now are seeing it not as a waste of time, but as a hobby to invest in.
Yeah.
Which, that's pretty cool.
Well, and if you think about it this way, you know... Like,
it could also incentivize those kids to study harder.
Like, for instance, like, my parents, like, I did tons of things as a kid. I was clearly never going to be a competitive gymnast, but my parents let me go to gymnastics lessons. And, like, that was just literally about, like, hey, this is something our kid enjoys. She's never going to be a pro. This is pretty much just, like, something she wants to do right now.
Yeah, like, it helps build some sort of skill. Maybe, like, it would, like, incite some sort of, like, work ethic, you know? Like, you need to practice doing this type of thing, and you get better at it, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, I think, you know, even if it doesn't lead to college scholarships, I think it's a good sign for video games as a whole and how it's being accepted in the general culture. Because, you know, it used to be like, are video games ruining children's souls? Will children go to hell if they go play video games?
Are video games killing your children?
Yeah, are video games giving your children cancer and then telling them to disrespect you?
Yeah.
Like...
Did video games tell your child not to eat their vegetables?
Yeah, basically. You always see, like, the craziest things being like, did video games tell your child that it was adopted without you giving consent to that? And you're like, there was an actual thing for Portal 2 where, like, one of the kids was adopted, and in the story, the main character was adopted, and so, like, the villain teased the main character for being adopted, and then they were like, I can't believe it. This video game said that she was adopted, and I was like...
Oh my god.
It wasn't like she didn't know, but it was like, she's being teased for being adopted, but we have a daughter who's adopted, and it's like, yeah, but the main character's adopted. That means, like, your kid can relate to the main character.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So we've got a trailer... we've got two trailers. So we've got, first of all, they released a trailer for Aquaman, which has Jason Momoa, and I feel like it looks kind of crazy. I'm still kind of interested to see where it goes. I'm just gonna skip around. Yeah. So basically, you've got he I don't know, finds out about his powers in an aquarium or something, and then we've got
this costume.
Yes.
Is
weird. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to that costume. I like it, but it seems like... Okay, wait. There's dudes riding sharks. It's cool. Yeah. Never mind. I take everything back. It's amazing.
And there's giant world under the sea, and there's there's just basically... Look at that!
Yeah, I'm gonna see this movie. Yeah. I don't care if it's shit.
I don't care if it's crap.
I want to see it.
sometimes I like to see
Her
things...
hair is very red. Is that supposed to be Poison Ivy?
No. She has if you go down, I think it says who she is. No. Mira, maybe?
Ah, okay. Because I thought the green motif in the red hair kind of threw me off.
Yeah. So it's kind of like superhero stuff is always tricky with me, because there's like so many of them. But yeah, you've got a lot of people in this. I don't know. I just thought it was
Nicole Kidman as Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay, so is
Atlanta?
Atlanta.
I don't know.
But, you know what? That's actually pretty cool, because it seems as if Atlanta is his love interest.
Oh? That was Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman as Atlanta. It looked like Nicole Kidman.
I didn't think that was Nicole Kidman. She... Go back to...
Okay. Wait. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was about to be excited because usually older women only get the roles of being a witch or the evil person. Yeah. Like, once you're an older woman, it's over. If you're an older guy, all your girlfriends are 30 when you're 58.
Yeah. There's a hard cutoff.
Yeah. Like, you know...
For how old the main
Tom Cruise keeps getting older and older, and all of his girlfriends in the movies are still 28.
Oh, she's Aquaman's mother.
Aww.
Yeah, and then, so the next trailer that I was looking at is the one for The Dragon Prince, which is the show that my friend is working on, and it looks super cute, and
I hope everyone in the comments peer pressure Stacy. Actually, don't peer pressure Stacy, because then she'll never watch it.
Into watching Avatar? I already got several messages about it.
Stacey, I know you don't want to do it, but I really think that you'll like Avatar.
It's literally just because you told me to. I know. I hate myself, too.
I don't hate you. I understand you, and I get why. I just think that you would really like it. I'm watching Gossip Girl with you.
Yeah.
After we're done watching Gossip Girl...
We'll watch Avatar.
We'll watch... Okay, you're going to be like, oh yeah, we can only watch one episode today. I'm never going to watch Avatar. Yeah. Never!
But yeah, the Dragon Prince looks super cool. All episodes are dropping on September 14th. I'm not, like, paid to promote this show for them or anything. I just think it looks really cool, and, like, it's been really neat to see this project that they've been working on, and, like, telling us, like, me and my friends about it, but, like, being really vague because they can't really talk about it, but just being like, I'm really excited about this. Yeah, like, it's really cool, and you guys will see it in a year, like, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Nintendo got... I guess we'll just look at the, we'll just look at the thing, but
you just
basically...
look at the URL.
Yeah. First quarter profits up 44% to $275 million on Switch sales alone.
Million.
Good job, Switch. You're doing great, sweetie.
Yep.
So, Elon Musk, here's a tweet from August 1st. If you're into video game development, consider applying to Tesla. We want to make super fun games that integrate to the Sender touchscreen, phone, and car in real life. So, he wants to make, like, there's going to be some new Atari-based Easter eggs in the new, like, in their next firmware update for Tesla cars, which I'm like, I'm sure they've, like, thought this through, but I'm wondering, like, how distracting is that going to be when you're driving, you know? I'm sure they're not going to think this through, but it's just like, what? He's also been getting in trouble for his tweets with his, like, chairboard or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And, like, that whole thing about, like, the boys that were trapped in the cave, and he was like, I made you a submarine! And all the people that, like, were over there, like, actually helping were just like, this is useless. We can't use this. What are you doing?
Because, alright, he's gotten to the point where he's so rich that he has no idea what life is anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, I made a submarine because I'm Batman! And they're like,
And they were like, this is, like, a hard submarine that will not fit around any of, like, the bends in the cave, like, so we can't use it for anything, but thanks? You know? And, like,
he's just so rich he's lost touch with reality.
Yeah.
And now he has a goth girlfriend and is more powerful than
Grimes.
ever. Yeah, his goth girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she's like, I looked into it personally, and... No, he's not stopping people from having unions. And, like, the employees are like, yes, he is, Grimes. I know that you're a very good musical artist, but that doesn't make you an investigative journalist.
Yeah. So there's going to be a Metal Gear Solid movie.
So I have some worries because...
I have some concerns
because... Hideo Kojima has been thrown out onto the street and no longer has control over Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And B, Konami is owned by the Japanese mafia. So I like the Yakuza, and so I don't think it's going to be respectful of Kojima's vision.
Just listen to this quote. The movie director says, we're not exactly adapting something verbatim as, quote-unquote, this game, but we're also not just going to throw it out in a crazy Dark Tower way that it completely disregards why fans love this thing, Voight Roberts said. Voight Roberts said that Kojima even encouraged him to branch out, literally telling him, do what I would do, betray your audience.
Yeah, but he's not going to be allowed to because the Yakuza will, like, cut his fingers off. If they don't make a cool movie that they approve of with, like, zombies or something.
So it's not going to cover... It's basically not going to cover, like, a game in the same way, and it's going to break from the traditional structure. But, yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes.
I am, you know, Team Kojima, and I just... feel sad that, you know, his baby...
sad?
Like, all those trailers, that baby he's holding is his creativity. It represents Metal Gear Solid and how, like, they keep trying to steal his baby. Mm-hmm. And I just feel so bad because it's like, they're literally doing what his weird Death Stranding trailers are showing as his deepest, darkest fear. Mm-hmm. And I just feel bad. Like, it sucks.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. And then, Patrick Stewart announced at the Vegas Star Trek convention he is returning to a new Star Trek series, and he's also going to executive produce. The series will focus on the next chapter of Picard's life, and he tweeted out a statement saying that he's very excited, and it was like the sweetest thing. Actually,
I hope he's actually excited, because remember when we saw him?
I have to read part of it. It's really... I'm just going to read... It's not very long. I will always be very proud to have been a part of Star Trek The Next Generation, but when we wrapped that final movie in the spring of 2002, I truly felt my time as Star Trek had run its natural course. It is, therefore, an unexpected but delightful surprise to me to find myself excited and invigorated to be returning to Jean-Luc Picard and to explore new dimensions within him, seeking out new life for him when I thought that life was over. During these past years, it has been humbling to hear stories about how the next generation brought people comfort, saw them through difficult periods in their lives. I'm one of those people. Or how...
Yeah, we did. We told him to his face.
Or how the example of Jean-Luc inspired so many to follow in his footsteps, pursuing science, exploration, and leadership. I feel I'm ready to return to him for the same reason, to research and experience what comforting and reforming light he might shine on these often very dark times. I look forward to working with our brilliant creative team as we endeavor to bring a fresh, unexpected, and pertinent story to life once more. I'm personally, overjoyed.
I just hope that he's happy.
He's going to executive produce, which also makes me very happy because he's just, in my mind, he's he can do no wrong.
I just remember when we saw him at that convention, he was talking, he didn't seem very happy with maybe he's changed his mind since then. He just seemed a lot more interested in his personal work in the theater, doing Shakespearean plays.
Yeah.
But I think if he's able to executive produce and have complete creative control over this series, I think that would make him happy. I just want him to be happy.
I really want him to be. I mean, obviously,
I don't care what the show is. I will watch it.
I will watch it. It could be Captain Picard stares at a wall watching paint dry, and I would still be like, oh, this is so nice.
It could literally just be Shakespeare in space, and I'd be like, I'm so proud of you, Grandpa. Thank you. I will watch it just to support him.
So if you have watched pretty much any of our videos, you've probably caught TNG references.
We're obsessed. Because we're obsessed with the show. I am obsessed. I
have watched it so many times.
I'm so obsessed that if, they're like, oh, Kirk or Picard. If someone answers Kirk, not only do I not respect them, I just, get mad.
Mad.
I get mad on the inside because I'm like, how can you just be such a fucking moron? I know it's completely irrational, but I'm just not only do I no longer respect you, I think you should just never be seen by my eyes.
Yeah, and I mean,
you're just so wrong.
All that stuff we said earlier about respecting people's choices in fandoms, that's all true except for this.
Except for this, you're just an idiot. Because that tells me everything I need to know about you. Oh, you just want to go around the universe fucking green women? Okay, what the fuck ever. Jean-Luc Picard, he walks around, women come to him, and he says, no thank you. Unless you're a smart older woman who's good at international espionage, I'm not interested, okay? Okay.
So, I'm this is very exciting for me. Yeah. What else do we got here? Oh, so people had asked us about, have you seen, that's just an ad.
Okay. So I have seen the insane opinions.
Response?
Okay, so I should probably point out.
So we're talking about the new Shr Ra design, which is for the Netflix series, right?
So I should point out that I watched a pretty cool video of this guy, and let me find it really quick. Okay, let's hope there's no porn that pops up.
Did you watch Shr Ra when you were a kid?
No, but my sister did. She was obsessed. Okay. So this guy Thought Slime made a really good video about, here, let me put his face. That's not him. That's the guy he's criticizing. Oh. So he comes out, in this video, he comes out as non-binary, by the way. And he talks about how much he loved Shr Ra as a kid. And then I don't know, non-binary, they. Sorry, everybody. They talk about that, and he criticizes this guy.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm so sorry. they criticized this guy for, like, his breakdown being like, okay, this guy is saying that, like, people are defeminizing Shr Ra, but really they're
it's a show for kids.
It's a show for little girls. It's a show for little girls. It's a show for little girls. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yes.
And this guy, the non-binary guy, was basically making up some fake points and, like, cutting off the picture saying, oh, the new Shr Ra's not feminine at all, but, like, he had cut off, like, how long and voluminous her hair was.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, they're trying to get rid of princesses, but the name of the show is Shr Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Yeah.
Like, more princesses than
like,
ever.
there's actually more princesses.
And, like, she's wearing a flowing skirt, and she's,
with
like,
little shorts underneath, which is so practical.
Yeah, because I don't want to see a little girl, like, a teenage girl's crotch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, if she's going to be doing all sorts of, like, badass stuff.
Like, if I had a daughter, and I would hope that, like, these dudes, if they had daughters, this is what they would want their kid to see, because, like, she's totally feminine. All they did was make her have less breasts because she's playing a younger version of herself.
Oh, so why the fuck does it matter? It's a show for kids.
Well, so the reason why, like, a lot of grown adult men were mad that a children's show wasn't sexy enough is because their point of view was that the woman who made this was too, like, butch or whatever, and she, like, made her more masculine.
That's Noelle Stevenson, I believe.
And, like, they were, like, trying to trick girls into, like, not being feminine and blah, blah, blah. But in my opinion, she looks more radiant and feminine than the original design. Let's look at Shr Ra original. But the original Shr Ra, she was pretty buff. So let's find a good one. Here's a good one.
I mean, she's also very clearly older too.
This is her playing a 17-year-old, by the way. So I feel like they made it a little bit more appropriate to
what
a young teenager is going to look like, because
this whole thing is just so, like, oh my god.
So what I think what happened is that people who make money off of the outrage of women existing is that, like, they're like, oh, like, where's my boobs? Like, whatever. Like, I genuinely think that the majority of people wouldn't care unless somebody, like, made up the points that these...
Like, frothed up the outrage, basically.
Yeah, they frothed it up, being like, I can't believe it. They're making boobs go away. Like, women and whatever.
They took my boobs!
They took my boobs! And it's like, dude, it's a show for little girls. And also probably little boys who want to look at a cool show. Like...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a show for kids. So, like, it really bugs me when... And I mean, like, granted, like, I am an adult who definitely watches kids' shows. But I feel like you also have to, like, understand that, like, this was not created with me in mind. And, like, there have definitely, it's like, I feel like I've listened to people talk about kids' movies sometimes and been like, oh, like, this is so, like, the plot is, like, so simplistic. And I'm like, yeah.
It's for kids.
It's for fucking kids. Like, you fucking idiot.
I know, like, and some people are like, well, it doesn't give an excuse for it being not good. I'm like, it needs to be simpler because it's for 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like,
and the fact that you're watching it is fine. Mm-hmm. But, like, you also have to keep in mind that, like, the target audience for this is not you.
Yeah, not everything needs to be about you. Like, I love Adventure Time, Steven Universe, like, some... I watched Gravity Falls and stuff like that, and I loved them. But I also know that it's not about me. Like, those shows aren't... I shouldn't be trying to make that show about me.
Yes.
This show is for kids. And I'm totally accepting of that. And to take, like, a show for kids and demand that it be, like... whatever.
Well, also,
really
like,
weird.
Really weird if you're talking about, like, a teenage character and complaining that they don't look sexy enough.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
By the way, the person on screen is the non-binary person, so don't mistake this person for the weirdo.
The weird person.
The weird person. I'm just like, I'm promoting their video because I think that they made a really good video about the topic. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
called We Don't Talk About Shr Ra by Thought Slime.
So if you wanted to, like, look at that some more, definitely go check that out. Yeah, whatever. The Expanse. The Expanse is being turned into a tabletop RPG. The Kickstarter funded in an hour. Those of you who have listened to our podcast before will know that I'm a huge fan of the Expanse novels as well as the show. I think the show is actually like a pretty great adaptation of like some pretty complex and very enjoyable books. And now they're turning it into a tabletop RPG, which I think is pretty cool. I didn't know this, but originally The Expanse was created as an MMORPG.
Wow.
As an MMO. And then the company that had approached the writer about making the MMO...
Now that I'm thinking about how you explained it to me, it totally does make sense.
Right?
That I'm thinking about all the different factions and their abilities and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that totally
and they
makes
each
sense.
had their so basically he was originally designing an MMO, and then the company scrapped that idea, but he kept all of his like George R. R. Martin style notes and ended up working with his collaborator and ended up using that as the basis for the first Expanse book, which was Leviathan Wakes. Mm-hmm. And now they're turning it into a tabletop RPG, which I think is super cool because there aren't as many sci-fi tabletop RPGs, tabletop ones, as there are for fantasy. Like, because you've got Dungeons and Dragons and Dragon Age, and then like a whole bunch of others. But like for sci-fi, you've got like Starfinder, others.
You just want to play games where everyone dies.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play Cyberpunk 2020.
Play?
Yeah, the Cyberpunk 2020 is
a book.
What Cyberpunk 2077 is based off of.
It's a book.
Yeah, it's also a tabletop RPG.
Oh.
Yeah, the guy made a bunch. Cyberpunk 2020 is the tabletop that also features some side books. Oh. Yeah, so we can play Cyberpunk 2020 if you want.
Oh my god, that sounds so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Here, let me Google it. Punk 2020 classes and character sheets.
Classes!
Ooh, what are the classes? Hold on, this is important. Oh, what sucks? This wiki sucks. Yeah, it's a Cyberpunk 2nd edition.
Oh, role-playing game.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds so cool.
The first one came out in 1988, and it was called Cyberpunk 2013.
Oh my god. That's fucking scary.
I know. You're scared. You're upset that.
Well, Cyberpunk 2020. It's gonna be
2 years.
Yep.
And now you're like, man, fuck this. Why isn't the world like shit as this?
I know.
All right, so
sponsor
time.
Sponsor time. So, Shirt Punch has redesigned their website, so you can. Okay, so Shirt Punch is basically this company. They do a bunch of different like nerdy T-shirt designs. We've previously, if you're not watching the visual version of the podcast, we are looking through a couple of their shirts right now. But basically, they have a whole bunch of like kind of like cool designs. We've previously talked about like the Harry Potter dog ones. They also have some anime ones. Ooh, those are really cool.
So they match up Sailor Moon with different elemental Pokemon.
So they have the different Sailor Scouts with elemental Pokemon.
So they have Sailor Venus with a Ponyta and like some other ones, and then they have Neptune with a Gyarados and a Psyduck.
Go up, I want to see the other ones. Oh,
Saturn is with a Gengar and other ghost psychic Pokemon.
Mars got Jupiter with a Jolteon. And then
Mars is with some fire Pokemon.
And then Chibi Moon.
Dark fire specifically. Oh my god.
Oh, these are so cute. Okay, so anyways, they also do $10 t-shirt specials, like t-shirts of the day type thing. If you want to get 10% off, you can...
Spider-Man is a tarot card. That's crazy.
Yeah. You can enter the code POD10 for 10% off. I think you can also actually give them your email address and get 15% off of an order, too.
If you're into tarot cards, they have some pretty crazy ones.
The Emperor? Did you see the Emperor?
The Emperor as the king.
The Emperor Palpatine as,
And Judge Dredd as Judgment.
Whoa.
Oprah as the Empress. The guy from Dragon Ball Z is the Hermit. That's cool.
Yeah.
So they basically just specialize in crossovers.
Yeah, in really cool crossover t-shirts and recommend checking out their stuff. So,
do we have a promo code?
Yeah, it said POD10.
POD10. Okay.
POD 10.
POD 10. The number 10.
The number 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, was there anything else you wanted to talk about this week?
Nope, just that AJ's being such a bad boy today.
He has been a nightmare.
You're being a nightmare baby. I'm a little nightmare boy. AJ's a dog.
He's our Taylor Swift dog.
He's not a nightmare. He's just a normal dog. You're just not used to having a dog. He's just a normal baby.
He's a nightmare just like a daydream.
Yeah. Okay.
I just really wanted to say that on the podcast.
I know.
Hold on, wait. So if you want to keep in touch with us in the meantime... another thing. Thank you so much to everybody who donated to us on Patreon this past week. We really appreciate it. Patreon was having some issues with payments and stuff, and a bunch of people donated to us, and you guys are really amazing. And so I just wanted to give you another shout out. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/geekremix. So far, we don't gate our content, but this is just a way for you to kind of support the making of the scripted videos.
The scripted videos cost more money to make than they make. Even if it's 50,000 views, it's gonna, because I don't purposely try to hit the 10-minute mark by putting in filler or anything.
Yeah.
So basically, they make even if it gets 50,000 views, it makes $20 in ad revenue. So it usually takes me a few days to write the script and then it takes me a while to edit.
And research and edit footage
and stuff. So
and you've been able to do more of those now, which is really cool.
Yeah, I can do more of them now because the Patreon makes it
worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also just if we're figuring out how to spend our time, it really helps to be supported so that it's we can maybe try out new projects or
because the scripted content is super hard, and the way YouTube works right now, they're go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So
that just, it really helps us out, and thank you again to people who donated. If you want to keep in touch with us between projects, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. I'm at Geek Remix a lot, and you are?
I'm at Geek Remix, but look at Stacy's Instagram. She's an Instagram model now. Please follow her so that she can get Instagram sponsorships.
I've gotten a couple already, which is really cool.
Yeah. So you should get more clothes.
Yeah.
Stacy needs clothes.
I have now clothes.
This is a Steven Universe one. This is you as a Pokemon trainer.
Oh my god.
Yep. Look at that. That's
Look
AJ.
At that dog. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.